This video is brought to you by Safety Wing. Stay tuned till later in the video for all the details.
I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now.
Here it is, the cost of living video here in the Dominican Republic. This has been the most requested video so far from all of you guys. So we took the time to try to figure all of the costs out, everything that we could at least think about, and we're going to tell you about them today.
Yeah, so a lot of it is based on our own experiences, what we're paying, what things have cost for us. But we also did a little bit of research, we asked around, we looked online, so hopefully we've got a good little group of things that you'll end up paying when you come here to the Dominican Republic and what to expect.
So if you're new around here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to that to get notifications on future videos. Normally we're not sitting down here on the couch and talking about costs. We'll get back to our regular style travel videos. Those who follow us know what kind of videos those are, but we think we have most of the costs covered today.
But if you just happen to tune in because you're really curious about the cost of living here in the Dominican Republic, we do have a bunch of other videos that you should go back and watch. We talked about why we moved to the Dominican, what our situation is. We walked around a lot. We showed you where we're staying. So there's all sorts of great stuff.
Okay, the first cost and likely the biggest expense of all is housing or renting apartments, renting condos.
We did actually talk about this a little bit in our last video, so some of you guys will already have an idea of what it costs to rent like a one-bedroom, really nice condo here in the center of Cabarete. I don't know if we said yet, we are in Cabarete, which is on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. It's about a half hour from Puerto Plata, if you're wondering. And the costs mainly are here in Cabarete, but I think they will apply to most places, especially expat style places across the whole country.
Yeah, like the places a lot of tourists would go, like, you know, your Punta Canas, Puerto Platas, and here.
Samana, that kind of place. So you're gonna notice me refer to my phone a lot. I have all the notes on here because this is a lot of stuff to remember. So housing, of course it depends so much on how long you're staying, what type of place you want to rent. If you want a condo, a one bedroom, a two bedroom, a three bedroom, a house, that kind of thing. It's going to vary a lot, and it depends on how long you're staying as well. If you're only staying 2 weeks, you probably are going to end up spending the same amount that we're going to spend here in a month's time. Also, if you're coming during high season or low season, that makes a big difference as well.
And if you're renting for a year, if you wanted to do that, your costs would be even lower. So just remember there's different factors for every one of you.
Yes, so if you want to see the place that we're staying, as I already said, I believe it was the last video we posted. We did a whole tour of this place. It'll give you a better idea of what it looks like and what to expect, that kind of thing that you'll get for your money. So a place in a condo development like we are in, which is only a couple minutes from the beach, I think they're 1 to 2 bedrooms. They generally range from about $1,200 for a one bedroom in the low season to up to $3,000 for a two bedroom in the very high season.
These are US dollars. Yes. So for some people, I realize right away you're going to be saying, whoa, that's so much money. But there's a whole other group of people that are going to say that's a really good affordable price, given we have a pool, we're like a minute walk from a beautiful beach here in Cabarete, which is just out of this world. So again, different factors. We have seen places for a lot cheaper than this, and you could just rent a room for just a few $100s somewhere. Of course, that would be further away from the beach.
Yeah, so it all depends on a bunch of things. Like here, Trevor said, we have a pool. So if you wanted maybe a home, but not a pool, it's a little bit more lower end, you might be able to get that for $500 to $800, but farther away from the beach.
Yeah.
So it really depends on a lot of factors.
I think the big thing is if you're watching this video and you're thinking about moving here, let's say from a country like Canada or the United States, United Kingdom, it's very affordable. I mean, there's no other way around that. It's a very affordable country to live in, and you can get a lot of bang for your buck. And it's surprising to us of what the costs are, especially when you're so close to the beach, because the beaches here in the Dominican Republic are beautiful.
All right, so let's talk about some of the costs that go along with renting an apartment. Of course, we're renting month to month here, so mostly everything else is included, like internet. But if you were renting long term, that might not be. Or if you're buying a place, obviously you'd have to pay for your own internet cable. From what we've heard from people is that you can get a good cable and internet package for about $40
and
per month.
The speeds are quite fast here, given we're on a Caribbean island. It's about, I think it's about 20 megs down and about 5 upload speeds, so that's not too bad at all. It's definitely enough to do Zoom meetings and anything. You can stream Netflix, watch our videos, anything that you want to do. Now, Electricity is another topic. So because we're renting month to month and we're in a condo building, our electricity is included. So we don't know the exact cost of this specific building. Now, we did rent a place in Punta Cana that was absolutely beautiful, and we had the air conditioning on only in one room at night while we slept. That's the only time we used it, and we were there for about 6 days, and it was about $14 US, give or take. So I think electricity could be quite costly here.
I think if you were someone that if you're paying for your own electricity and you have the AC on in every room all day, it's gonna get expensive for sure.
Yeah, so when it takes a little while to adjust to the hot temperatures down here, but if you're like us, we don't really like air conditioning, only when we sleep, so we would save money. I think it wouldn't be so bad for us if we were paying for it. Another cost is water. So with water here, once again, when you're renting from month to month in this style of a building, our water is included, which is very nice, especially given that we have a washer and dryer. We can do laundry here as well. So water costs are the one that we exactly
really don't know, but I think in general, especially if you're going to be living in a condo building, you're probably not going to run into that.
Yeah.
If you're renting maybe an individual house that's not in a community, that might be a cost that you have to look into. But honestly, we couldn't find that out. Everyone we've met so far is staying in a condo building that doesn't have to worry about their own water bills.
So this is the good thing about a video like this. If anyone's watching, let us know down in the comments, because hopefully people that are watching this video, if we don't have every answer for you, someone else can jump in down below in the comments and let you know what water costs you.
So next up, something you should never, ever travel without, and that is your travel medical insurance.
Very, very important. Maybe the most important one.
Yes, and that brings us to this week's sponsor, Safety Wing.
We've been using Safety Wing for many, many years, and we will continue to use them as we travel going forward. We couldn't be happier to have them on board as a sponsor this week.
We can promise you this: we will never recommend a product or service that we don't use ourselves. We love Safety Wing. There's a whole bunch of reasons that we pick them as our travel medical insurance, and this is why. First
off, they cover you for multiple countries and extended traveling. Some insurance companies will only cover you for a set number of days in only one country, and to extend it, it is expensive and complicated. Safety Wing is very affordable, super flexible, and so easy to use and set up.
Because we travel for longer periods, we love that Safety Wing auto-renews from month to month. We don't have to set reminders, it happens automatically until we turn it off. This definitely puts our mind at ease. We don't need to worry about forgetting to renew our insurance and unknowingly going without.
Travel medical insurance includes everything we need. It has COVID-19 coverage. It includes coverage for doctors, hospitals, and emergencies. And on top of that, it also includes coverage for travel delays and lost luggage.
Safety Wing is created for nomads, by nomads. It's great for entrepreneurs and remote workers. It's also great for people like us and maybe people like you that want to escape winter for a few months, come down to a place here like the Dominican Republic.
So, if you want to sign up to Safety Wing or get more information, there will be a link down below in the description area. By the way, huge thank you to Safety Wing for sponsoring this video and supporting creators like us.
Also, stay tuned to very early 2022 where Safety Wing is going to be launching a very exciting contest. You don't want to miss it. All right, next up, our cell phone. Something, hopefully you'll want a SIM card when you come here, especially if you're staying again for a longer period of time. You might want to switch over your SIM card. We recently did that. We actually ended up doing 2 different ones, so we maybe have a little bit more information than some people might. There's 2 big companies. There's some others as well, but Claro and Altice are the 2 big providers here in the Dominican Republic. We had started off with Claro because it became highly recommended. Everybody said they're the best company to go with, the best coverage and the best prices. So we went and got that SIM card. I think SIM cards themselves are like $1 or $2. They're
very,
very affordable. And then the data package, I think that we originally got had something like 5 gigs.
Yeah.
I wrote this down. I think it's about 3 USD or 140 pesos for 5 gigs, but it's only good for 5 days. So that's where we ran into some confusion, was every 5 days we have to go top it up.
Yeah.
Couldn't figure out how to do it online. It wouldn't accept our foreign credit card on their app, and
it's all in Spanish as well when you get the text. So, our Spanish is coming along, but it's not, quite there. So what happened was we'd have to go in every 5 days physically and top up the card. And I think people here in the Dominican Republic, a lot of people do that. It's just the way it is. But for us, we didn't want to do that. We wanted another way around. So then
Especially if we're traveling around a lot. It's like, do we really have to go find a Claro every time we want to top up our card?
So we went with Altice, which is another network. And the reason why is because every 30 days, we only have to go in the store once to do that. And luckily, there's an Altice very close by to us. So, yeah.
So we each pay about 1,000 pesos, or about 18 US dollars per month, and that gives us 15 gigs. I know there's some talk and like voice and stuff,
We don't
texting, but we don't really use that. I know someone had asked about that online, and I was like, I don't really know. We just use data.
Yeah, and so that cost, 1,000 pesos, is roughly about 20 US dollars. So Canadian, it's probably 24 or 25 Canadian dollars, which is almost a third of the price we pay for that in Canada for 15 gigs. So very affordable. And I just want to say really quick, if anybody's watching out there and you just don't even know what we're saying when we say SIM card, because we've gotten this before. A lot of people don't know, if you go to another country, you can just take out your, in our case, Canadian SIM card and just pop in another SIM card from a different country.
You have to make sure your phone is unlocked, though.
You do need an unlocked phone and your passport just to kind of prove who you are.
Right, you do need your passport also. Only the first time when you go to top up, they don't ask for it, but when you first go, when they register your SIM card, they connect it with your passport ID.
So definitely do that if you're planning on maybe coming down here to live, because you don't want to be paying roaming fees back to your home country every day. Get a local SIM card. On to the next category of cost. This one, food.
Our favorite. This is our favorite category.
Now, if you're here in the Dominican Republic, because it is quite affordable to eat out, you're going to be tempted all the time. Let me tell you, there's some great restaurants around here specifically. Delicious food in the Dominican Republic.
We'll talk about groceries in a few minutes, but we do buy a fair amount of groceries, but we do end up eating out probably a lot more than we intend, basically because it is really yummy and really, really affordable.
Yeah. So we have a breakdown here to try to let you guys in on what you could expect to pay for things like breakfast and onward into dinner.
Yeah, and of course, same thing with housing. It varies a lot. There are like very local places that you can eat for almost nothing, and then there are some higher end restaurants that are more equivalent to just eating out what it costs us to eat out in Canada. But in general, this is a very generalization. Breakfast, you can go get a really yummy breakfast plate with eggs, bacon, potatoes, maybe a juice and a coffee for like $3 to $4.
Yeah, I mean we noticed breakfast is one that's quite low. So just $3 or $4 USD, and you're going to get all that, and often a juice, like a very fresh juice, and the coffee is included. So yeah, eating out for breakfast makes sense.
Or if you want to go a little bit more higher end, we found an avocado toast that I think was in one of our recent videos. That was only like $5, so you can eat like a pretty high-end fancy breakfast for $5.
Now, we did go to one restaurant on the beach that was priced a little more like home, and it was about $15 or $16 for an amazing breakfast and some of the best drinks we've had on the beach. But that did include a fresh
very,
juice.
Very fresh juice. Like they just made it great for us.
So yeah, just keep that in mind. Again, there's different options.
Lunch, we usually just grab a sandwich, that kind of thing, and it's usually about $4 to $5.
Yeah, and often the sandwiches are big, and we're not.
Yeah, it's like sometimes they're on a big baguette with like lots of sandwich meat, cheese, veggies.
So we split them. So it's basically about $2 for like a sandwich. So it can be quite affordable. Again, you can find restaurants where you spend a whole lot more for lunch, but you could easily eat out for $5 for two people if you want to for lunch.
And then supper or dinner, whatever you want to call it. Again, you can eat out for next to nothing, 300 to 500 pesos, which is $6 to $8. I think I saw like a hamburger on the menu the other day for $2.60 to $300, so like $5 to $6.
Yeah, and we saw on the a lower end of that, so about 300 pesos, around $6 USD. You can get like chicken kebabs and rice. It'll come with a little salad just for like $6, and that's on the beach. That's like one thing I want to keep pointing out. This is like sitting in the sand, like at a table with an amazing view of Cabarete Beach. So yeah, I mean the prices here are quite nice. But again, there are some restaurants here in this town where you could easily pay about $20 or $25.
Yeah, so if you wanted to go to a fancier restaurant and get a big steak dinner, you might end up paying about 1,200 pesos, which is about $20. So you can go for a fancy meal if you want to, but you can also eat very, very cheaply if you're on a budget or just don't want to spend that much money.
Yeah.
A little bit about, I guess, alcohol, as we normally would have like a glass of wine with our dinner. It's usually around 200 pesos, which is about $3.50 to $4.
Yeah, and cerveza or beer, usually on the lower end, about 150 to 200 pesos, so a few dollars on the beach. Expect to pay, but then if you get mojitos and like caprianas or even rum punch, often you can get 2 for 1 for about 200
There's
pesos.
tons of great
for 2
happy
drinks.
hours on the beach for 200 pesos. Yeah,
For 2 people, 2 drinks.
2 mojitos.
So, yeah, I mean, it's very affordable. In general, we keep saying when people ask, like, what is the cost when it comes to food in restaurants here? We find in our experience, it's about a third of the cost of what we would pay in Canada if we went out,
Yeah.
both got a main for dinner or supper, and had like 2 glasses of wine and some water. In general, it's about a third of the cost here, so it's much more less expensive.
Yeah. Okay, sticking on the food theme, let's talk more about groceries, because some people do like to go buy their groceries and make their own meals, like especially if you're staying for a long period. You want to make your
I
own.
will say we have been doing that as well. So one thing we often do is we eat lunches here, and I'd say about half the time, maybe a little less than half the time, depending on the weather, we're cooking in here. Like last night, we made pasta for ourselves, and so we do eat at home as well. But we do have some costs on
Yes.
groceries.
But before we get to costs, I know some people have some questions about what can you get here, and honestly, pretty much everything. There's hardly anything that we haven't been able to find.
I can't think of one thing that we couldn't find. There were a couple spices that we wanted for some
Yeah.
meals we made, and we could only find them in really large bottles, which we didn't want to get, and we couldn't find them in the small ones. That was it. Like that was the only thing. So there's everything. You know, you can get soda water. There's bagels. There's steaks. There's pork.
There's like imported cheeses and
Yeah.
lots of imported meats and all sorts of delicious things. Also, our prices here that we're going to talk about are based off of the local grocery store here in Cabarete. I know once in a while I hear people say that it's very overpriced, and then someone will be like, no, it's not at all. So you can probably, if you were to shop around or go to a bigger store in a bigger city, get better prices. But these are the local prices that we found here at the local store. So for instance, 1 pound of ground coffee, that's local Santo Domingo coffee, is about 250 pesos, so about 450.
So $4.50. So a pound of coffee back home in Canada is a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's about double, especially if
depending
you're
where
getting
you
a
get.
local coffee.
Yeah, local coffee.
A loaf of bread ranged a lot, but for your basic white bread, and this is not like, I'm not talking like artisanal bread or anything here, but just like your grocery store mass-produced bread, 70 to 150 pesos, so 120 to $2.
Yeah.
Some dried pasta, I saw anywhere from 90 to 120 pesos, so 150 to $2, something like that. A jar of like imported marinara sauce, like pasta sauce, was about 200 pesos, so 350. A liter of milk with 67 pesos, $1.15.
One thing about the milk, it's never in the fridge here.
Yeah.
It's we've been in other countries like that, but it's just kind of on the shelf, so it's like warm. I don't really understand how that works.
Yeah, they must process it in a different way. or
Yeah,
something.
they must.
Chicken is actually, so meats in general, we haven't bought a lot of them, but I did see a chicken for 330 pesos. That's $5.80 for a whole chicken.
Like a full chicken for $5.80.
And just like toilet paper, a 4-pack. It was 140 pesos, so $2.50 for that's not like the cheap stuff. It's like a quality stuff. All right, buying alcohol in a store, so alcohol that you would take home with you. There's lots of wine. You're gonna there's a good selection of wine, like not huge, but very, very good, I would say. And
Yeah.
there's different liquor stores. You can get it in the grocery store.
The way the wine works, I find, so we're used to, where we're from in Canada, we're used to like Argentinian or Chilean wine being more affordable, but here it's actually a little more. But on average, it's about $12 for a bottle of wine, I would say, for a brand that you know.
On average, but you can get like a inexpensive bottle of, say, Pinot Grigio for about 450 pesos, so that's $8. That's probably one of the cheapest wines we've seen.
Now we bought last week, I don't know if we have this cost listed, but we bought like a 24 pack of Presidente Light, which is beer. Do you remember the cost?
I broke this down. It was about $1.10 or maybe even less than that per beer.
Per beer, so $1.10
Per can, just a regular size can.
for a can. That's when you buy it in bulk. And if for anybody that's into just whiskeys or bourbons, I have bought bourbon here.
What is 1,200 pesos?
It's about 1,200 pesos. Yeah, so again, that's not too bad. So you're looking at about
20
$25 US, $24 US for some bourbon. So that's a lot more affordable than it is in Canada. So in general, we find groceries, in our opinion anyway, quite affordable. In fact, you can actually get delivery from the local grocer here if you spend 5,000 pesos.
It's about 90 US dollars.
90 US dollars, so what is that, 110 Canadian? So we actually we've been doing that, but sometimes we have a hard time spending that much because we try to buy just a few days out in case we don't buy for like 2 weeks.
We don't want to waste food.
Like we would if we were back home. We don't want to buy for 2 weeks and waste food. So, but we have gotten there a few times and they do deliver for free. It's great, within hours too, so it's awesome. Next up, transportation. So taxis here are the one cost we find that are about on par with prices we would pay back home in Canada or maybe back in the USA. So it's about $15 to go in a car here in a taxi for about 15 minutes. So there's another town close by to us called Sosua, and we went over there a few times now. It's $15 one way and it's 15 US dollars coming back. Now, there is Uber here, but I think there's only one driver.
Maybe two.
Maybe two, so it's hard to find them. We did manage to get them once, and it was a third of that price. So the same distance, but for about 5 US dollars. So that's the only expense I would say that's a little high when it comes to taxis. But now there is local buses as well. We see them go by. Because of COVID, we haven't been jumping on local buses and taking that, but
I haven't figured out entirely how they work. I've noticed there's bus stops, but I don't know if you can just flag them down.
I think so.
You can just do that.
Like a collectivo, like in some other countries we were in. So, and we've heard from just people that live around us and that we've met that it's just a few dollars.
Yeah, it's very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, to get on that. Now, car rentals is another one. So car rentals, we noticed you can get a basic car, like an automatic car, small little economic car, for about $30 a day. I mean, you can negotiate a little bit. You can pretty much negotiate anything here in the Dominican Republic. But that would be for a very basic car. Of course, the longer you rent it for, the cheaper it's going to be.
Yeah, we've heard some people talk about renting for a full month at a time, and you can. I think I saw them online for maybe $300 to $500 for a month. But I think that was not in like January or February. It was in like lower season.
Yeah.
But then we heard someone today tell us that their friend got a really nice car for $700 or $800 per month.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And if you're wondering, insurance is included in those prices. If you need a larger vehicle like an SUV or a 4x4, which we're going to need when it comes to next month, you could expect to pay somewhere around double the price. We've gotten quotes from different locations here, but in general it seems to be just a little more, probably because 4x4s are slightly rare around here.
You can also take or rent or take moto taxis, basically people on
Scooters.
Something we're not overly comfortable doing. Most people don't wear helmets, and they kind of weave in and out of traffic, so it doesn't seem like the safest to us. It's up to you if you decide to do that, but I think it's only $1 or $2 to take that, and I also think to rent one is very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, we've had people ask us how have we gotten around the country. There are buses in the Dominican Republic as well, and they're nice looking buses, some of them are almost double-decker style, or they're just large like Mercedes buses
with bathrooms.
And we just haven't taken them with COVID and the whole thing. We're just trying to play it safe.
But I think generally you can go a very, very long distance for like less than $20. It's very, very affordable.
Yeah, and you can also hire, just in case someone's watching that's coming here for vacation or even for a month. There are private transport companies as well. You can hire those. Those can be a little bit costly. It just depends on the distance you're going. I find on average it's about $100 for 100 kilometers, give or take. It just depends on how long you're going for.
So if you're renting a car, you're probably going to wonder about how much gas costs. We haven't had to do that yet, but we went and looked it up the other day. It was listed at 256 pesos for a gallon, so that's about $4.50 per gallon. So expensive, definitely not cheap.
Yeah, but we don't own a car back in Canada, so I'm not up to snuff on what gasoline prices are.
Especially per gallon, that totally throws me off.
That sounds, for gallon, we don't use gallons in Canada. So that seems high to me, and I'm sure a lot of you watching are going like, whoa, but just remember, we're on an island here.
I think that's why.
Yeah, that's definitely why. So Caribbean island in the tropics, you're going to pay a little more for gasoline. Next up is fitness and gyms. So there are gyms here, of course. There are some nicer ones, but we've joined kind of, one that doesn't have air conditioning and it's open
Pretty basic, but it has everything you need.
One of the reasons we joined it was really close to where we are. So we paid 1,000 pesos per person to join. Again, that's about $20 US for 1 month. But the good part is after the 1 month, you start paying about 800 pesos from there. So again, that's like a third.
$15 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
you're talking about a third to a quarter of the cost of what you would pay at a gym in Canada, at least I would say. So very affordable. So we figured why not? Of course, we don't want to go to the gym. We do try to go on walks on this beautiful beach here in Cabarete just to get some exercise.
All right, our last category. Hopefully, if you're watching this maybe a year or two down the road, this doesn't apply, fingers crossed, but who knows what the future holds. A PCR or antigen test to get back home to the US or Canada or whatever country you happen to be from. We've heard that antigen tests are about $50.
Yeah.
And a PCR test is more around $100.
Now, I think that is lower, those are lower prices than what we'd be used to in Canada, but the good thing is you can get all those tests here wherever you're flying out of the Dominican Republic, you can get to, and I think it just takes a couple days to get results.
Yeah, I think with it, well, antigen test you can get back pretty quickly.
Right.
PCR tests take a little bit longer, but generally within 24 to 48 hours, I believe.
All right. I'm sure there are things we have forgot. So if anyone's watching, let us know. Feel free to ask a question. We'll go down in the comments and try to answer. If we did miss something, let us know down in the comments. Just let's try to help everyone out here. We try to do our best to get all the categories. Hopefully
Sure, we
did
forgot
okay.
something, but yeah, get a conversation going, ask each other questions, and hopefully someone can answer it for you. We didn't already do that, but I think the moral of the story is that living in the DR is very, very affordable. I think if you're on a fixed income, if you're retired or something,
Yeah.
and have maybe $2,000 US a month to play with, you can live pretty comfortably.
Oh, very, very comfortably. And if you're not and you're just a like backpacker or something like that, there are definitely ways to do that as well. We're having such a great time down here in the Dominican Republic. I'm sure you can all tell. So we have lots more videos coming up. Again, they're not all like this where we're just sitting down and
Do you want
talking
to tell them
about
what
prices.
we're doing next?
Ooh, should we tell you?
We're actually really nervous about it. We're going to take our very first road trip.
We're renting,
We're renting
a
a
car
car. We're going to drive here in the Dominican Republic.
by ourselves on the
By
crazy
ourselves.
roads. So the roads here are a little, let's just say it's like the wild, wild west out there.
You'll find out in the next video if we survived, if we were terrified, if we cried.
But we are going to a really cool destination that we can't wait to show you guys. It's going to be awesome. But again, if you're new around here, I'm Trevor, and this is Anna. Hit the subscribe button, click on that bell, leave us a comment, share the video. If you got this far, it probably means you like it. If you're not new, it's very nice to see each and every one of you again.
All right, guys, that's it.
From the Dominican Republic, wishing you delightful travels.
See you soon.
I'm on my way now.